mixed reality apparels for photos and videos of users. The user gets a cloth base that can be sewn onto their clothing, to which they can then attach different asymmetrical patches. These patches serve as AR image trackers, which trigger different Instagram AR effects to appear over the user's body based on the patch design that the camera has scanned. When the user wants to wear a different design on their clothing, they also get a different AR overlay by using the corresponding Instagram filter and scanning the new patch design. The main purpose of this project was to develop a product that has a tangible component that is directly linked to the user's online presence, leverages the visual possibilities of 3D AR design, and allows the user to wear multiple looks without the environmental cost of buying fast fashion frequently.
Hey, Kat.
Yeah?
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt. We actually weren't ready. That's my bad. Let's start over.
Okay. Do you want me to go back or do you want me to stop sharing?
Just stop sharing. Give it a minute.
Okay.
That was just a warm-up.
Hi everyone, my name is Kat Vlasova. I'm a senior at IMA and this is my capstone project. Который is a system of configurable patches and Instagram AR filters used to create mixed reality apparel for photos and videos of users. It functions in the following way. The user gets a cloth base that can be sewn onto their clothing, to which they can then attach different asymmetrical patches. These patches serve as AR image trackers, which trigger different Instagram AR effects to appear over the user's body based on the patch design that the camera has scanned. When the user wants to wear a different design on their clothing, they also get a different AR overlay by using the corresponding Instagram filter and scanning the new patch design. The main purpose of this project was to develop a product that has a tangible component, which is directly linked to the user's online presence, leverages the visual possibilities of 3D augmented reality design, and allows the user to wear multiple looks without the environmental cost of buying fast fashion frequently. I was inspired to create this project when I began to make Instagram filters at the end of last summer, and saw many creators who were using Spark AR to create filters that resembled ornamental couture pieces rather than simple 2D overlays. I started to see their visual aesthetics and everyday use of these filters on people's Instagram stories and posts as a form of fashion. To me, fashion has always been a vessel for self-expression, a method of communication, and an art form that is central to people's identities. 2 years ago, I had the opportunity to intern at NYU's Future Reality Lab, led by Ken Perlin. And Ken would always talk about how AR glasses are going to replace smartphones in the future, and our daily digital social interactions will move to the AR space. This is no longer science fiction, as big tech companies like Google and Facebook have already announced their development plans of commercial AR glasses. So I've been thinking about what this would mean for how we would see each other in this mixed reality future, and what this means for our clothing. I was reminded of the RPGs I would play as a kid and how most video games let the user customize their avatars, with props that were extravagant and fantastical or otherwise not possible to be owned by people in the real world. AR opens the possibility of adding these features directly to the user's apparel through the camera feed. Aside from the cool features that AR could provide to the look of apparel, I was also deeply interested in how we could use this tool to help curb the environmental impact of the fast fashion industry. Over the past decades, the production and consumption of fashion has grown to unprecedented amounts, and with that, so has waste, labor exploitation, and carbon emissions associated with producing and shipping clothing across the globe. Fashion influencers who use Instagram as a primary method of showing their style commonly wear different clothes for each photo that they post, and often film themselves showing shopping hauls or try-on videos with products that they then return or never wear again and throw out. This normalizes the idea that we must continue buying more and more clothing to stay on trend and maintain our appearance in our digital life while disregarding the financial and environmental costs of this practice. I realized that in order to combat this problem, it wouldn't be productive to force people to give up the frequency of changing their style, but instead come up with a design solution that would offer users multiple designs to wear in the physical and online space without having to manufacture more clothes. Research has also shown that customization has a positive effect on the user's relationship with their clothing. It makes them use the apparel longer, which reduces textile waste. The customizable design patch design system I created was inspired by Felipe Pantone's modular art system, which allowed customers to arrange the individual canvases of Pantone's art into different complete pieces depending on their taste or the space which they wanted to hang the piece in. I believe that as we become used to the personalized design in the digital spaces through algorithmic content suggestions, it is not improbable to foresee customizable and interactive design entering other areas of our non-digital lives. For the image tracker requirements set by Facebook and the purpose of the markers being to be worn on the body without warping, I chose to fabricate a system of exchangeable trackers made from painted felt fabric that was attached to a base through snap-on buttons. I first created the paper prototypes of a 5x5-inch base patch, which would be sewn onto the clothing, and then designed pieces that could fit onto that grid, both rectangular and asymmetrical and curvy variations that were complex in their design in order to be tracked well by the phone camera. After the camera was able to track my paper prototypes and its size and design was functional, I moved on to creating the fabric version of these markers. These were made using hand-painted felt and function as a standalone wearable art piece as well as an AR trigger. Once testing was completed, I selected these two simple configurations as my markers and began to design the filters that would accompany them. This process was initiated by analyzing the look from New York, London, Paris, and Milan fashion weeks in 2019 to gain a general understanding of the textures and colors and the expressions of the trends that were shown on these runways. I compiled the list of categories with their respective color and texture palettes, then chose two to focus my designs on. I went through several iterations of design and testing, where I also experimented with using color detection and person segmentation to key in different colors on top of the user's existing clothing, but found the overall effect too messy at its current state and decided to abstain from using it in my current prototype. I ended up with these looks tracked to the markers shown next to them. The left design was inspired by a number of edgy chic black and white styles I saw on the runway, while the effect on the right tried to capture a more feminine and earthly feel. Due to the quarantine, I was only able to user test these filters on myself, but I found a very surprising result through this process. The most interesting thing I discovered is my body's physical response to seeing a live feed of myself with the AR overlay. When I tried on the first effect, I immediately felt like I was wearing something heavy and fragile and would avoid the physical space where the top spikes of the chest piece appeared because my brain believed that I would bump my head against it. This similar feeling was induced by the second filter as well, whose material shaders made it look like I was covered in glass. Emotionally, I felt very excited and special as the look of these filters resembled something exclusive that would be extremely laborious to create. I felt a sense of awe when I saw my body adorned with these effects, especially by seeing the animated particles flow from them, which created a feeling of magic, because it's not possible to create this effect in real life. Reflecting upon the current state of this project, I see it as a partial success. I was able to create the physical patches that attach easily to the clothing and can be tracked by the camera, and I managed to build a set of filters that visually do create a cohesive look. However, there were many issues with it at its current state. One of the biggest inconveniences with this platform is that Spark VR can only support a single image tracker per filter, and it does not work on the mirrored version of that image, which makes it impossible to use the front camera or when taking a selfie in front of the mirror. This makes it very difficult for the user to see their entire body in the effect on their own. Another issue with Spark VR is that there is no built-in physics engine in the platform to simulate the draping of clothing or chain dynamics that we get in physical apparel. For these reasons, I want to move my next iteration to a more robust game engine-like Unity and experiment with pose detection using the camera feed to make shader and texture adjustments to the user's clothing. As I continue to work on this project, I hope to develop it into a standalone app that can handle multiple AR effects in the same scene, as well as figure out a sustainable way of mass-producing the image tracker patches, or alternatively, provide an option for the user to upload their own images of the trackers that they make at home. I'm also very interested in studying the social etiquette around the use of these patches in public, and how strangers could approach each other to scan the patches and see the wearer's AR apparel. I was curious to see what strangers thought of this project and posted my documentation of it on the social video sharing platform called TikTok. The video did surprisingly well for having less than 50 followers on the platform at the time of posting, and I got a lot of comments asking if I was selling the patch filter system. I got the same reaction when I posted documentation of a physical painting I put into AR, with people asking me if I could make custom work for them after the TikTok went viral. I interpret this result as showing that although small, there is a growing interest among the general public in actually paying to own mixed reality products, at least as novelty items. Moving forward, I hope to continue developing this project into a commercially viable product and discover more methods of applying AR to the fashion production chain in ways that can reduce its environmental damage while providing new means for people to express their style. Thank you to everyone who helped me get where I am today, and I wish I was at ITP right now. What is it?
Hello, everybody.